Three ways that Gen Xers can prepare for retirement. And this is coming from a millennial, but it's all love and it's something that I see that can definitely benefit anyone of all age calibers, but Gen Xers specifically. And this was inspired by an article that I just read. What up? You got Mr. Smith, point five of Mr. and Mrs. Smith, and in this brief video, I want to give you three ways that Gen Xers, those born within I forget what year, but up until like 1980, those are people who are definitely looking into retirement because they see that it's approaching in the retirement years that's given to us by Social Security and things of that nature. And they look at retirement years at the age of 65. So they're looking at those years and trying to figure out what can they do in order to make sure that they're not having to work, or they have some money that's still going to be coming to them, because they realize that Social Security itself may not be enough. So it's good for them to have some type of strategy, and I strongly agree. And if you haven't already, go ahead and click the available link below so you can tap into what I'm referring to, and definitely take advantage, because time waits for no one, not even you. That being said, Gen Xers, you got to understand this, and this is millennials included. You got to understand this as it relates to retirement. It's not based on age, is based on money. So a lot of times we get lost in the fact that, oh, I'm approaching my retirement years. No, these could be your retirement years if you were prepping for years before, or the next decade could be your retirement if you prep for it today. So you got to understand that it's based on money, not age. Once you understand that, then you start looking at your money and your cash flow a bit different. And I was reading a book, and it's centered around Oriental wealth, and a lot of things that they don't do is centered around not buying into the consumer habits that we as American, or Westerners as they call it, have. So it's a lot of things you may be doing that may be unnecessary and may be hindering you from developing or creating the type of wealth or retirement plan that can leave you in a better place. So that being said, let's talk about three things that you can do. Number one, you want to implement what's known as the income shifting strategy. And within the income shifting strategy lies the three things that I'm referring to. So in the income shifting strategy, it's all about figuring out ways that you can, number one, increase your cash flow all across the board, whether it be work extra hours at your job, whether it be work overtime, same thing, whether that be get a second job, which is not what we recommend, whether that be to create some type of side hustle, which is definitely something that we do recommend for multiple reasons, or whether that be if you have a job, you create the cash flow by properly correcting your W-4. Over 100 million Americans have had their W-4 filled out incorrectly. And before you think that there's some fear associated with correcting your W-4, there's a calculator, estimator that lets you know what to expect. In fact, you can predict about what your refund will be if you typically get one. You can predict if you're likely to owe, and you can decide if you want to do it half and half. Like, I want to get a refund but get more of my money throughout the year, which is part of what this video is about. Because if you increase your cash flow, now that extra money can go towards debt elimination, which is number two. Debt elimination is something you want to be doing if you have any, because the sooner you get removed from debt, the better you are in terms of having more cash flow that you can allot to building wealth, a lot towards growing your money, which is number three. Investing. You want to be investing, because you're not on track to having a comfortable retirement if you're not investing on a regular basis. What do I mean? That means you need to be putting your money somewhere that has the potential to be more than what you put in 5 years later, 10 years later, because money doesn't sleep. It continues to work if you put it to work. But if you don't put it in a vehicle that gives it potential to grow, then you position yourself to not benefit 10 years later. Because I know sometimes they say you need to have 6 years worth of savings or investments, if 6 times your salary, not 6 years, 6 times your salary. For example, if you earn 50,000 a year, then they're saying that you should have 150 times to $300,000 in investments. We beg to differ. We think you should have 10 times that amount. So if you earn 50,000 a year, then you probably want to have 500,000 invested, and that investment can pay you some type of, what's the word I'm looking for? Not residual, not royalty. It'll come to me. That investment can pay you dividends that can be what you live off of, and now you've created your own retirement on top of what you may get from Social Security, on top of what you may get from your pension, on top of those two things, and now you position yourself to have a solid quality retirement. But that does not happen without investing, and investing is made easier when you create cash flow in other areas. And I'm not even talking about like budgeting and things of that nature. I'm talking about just seeing if you've been overpaying on your taxes and taking that money and dumping it into things like debt elimination and investing. But a bonus is also strongly consider a home-based business. Also strongly consider learning financial literacy, because the home-based business may scare people because they're thinking about it from an angle of, well, I don't want to have to sell things. I'm not a seller. I'm not a salesperson. But if you get out of that mindset and you understand that most of the time, if you knew certain things, then you wouldn't be where you are. What do I mean? If you knew more about money, then you wouldn't be seeking ways that you can properly position yourself to retire. So on your journey to acquiring the necessary knowledge to hit your goals, there's somebody else who needs to know that information. So if you've learned how to properly correct your W-4, then somebody else wants to know that. If you've learned how to properly start eliminating your debt strategically, then somebody else may want to know that. If you've learned ways that you can invest and start growing your money, it's somebody else that may want to know that. And if you're one chapter ahead of them, one page ahead of them, you have the ability to teach them, and almost an obligation to teach what it is that you know. And that alone can get you compensated. And that alone can turn into a home-based business that yields you not only profits, but also things that come along with having a home-based business, such as tax deductions, such as knowledge, such as a network of people that can help shorten your path to where you're trying to go. So consider those three things in a bonus. But long story short, make sure you click the available link so you can get access to the strategy that help you bring all of that to life. So that being said, I hope that helps. And if you see the button, depending on where you're seeing this, it may be a strategy. It may say the Smith strategy, or it may say financial success membership. Both of those lead you to the same place. So make sure you take advantage of it regardless of what you see. It's all about taking action. Mr. Smith, signing out.